What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you? Hope you're doing well. Thank you all for being here. Much appreciate you coming in. What's going on, Relic, Robert, Bruce, T Bird, Tiger? What's going on, bud? How are you?
Oh, not much, my friend. Just going ahead and uh, trying to get through life, and just kind of miss the community. Glad you invited me, so thank you.
Relic, key dates. We're looking at Lincoln Cents. Key date is 1909 VDB, obviously. Um, 1914 D. Actually, anything with an S prior to like 1918 is pretty decent. 1922 with no D or a very weak D. There's some very specific die markers. 1931 S, and then obviously you're going to want to look for something like the 1955 doubled die. So that's just a few of the wheat cents that you want to be looking out for. A 1909 S, if it's no VDB, it's very common. Cool to have, but it's pretty common. So there are some very specific things, but as you go through your treasure digs, then let me know, and we will look through it and we will see what we can find. If there's anything of real interest, I'll have you take some photos and email them to me, and we'll kind of go over those. I'll either do it via email or send them off to you live. All right. So what I got going to be very small, but you can see that down there at the bottom. 1959. Let me make this bigger so that you can see this. Gather them up, please. Do that. So here is the roll. It's that 1959. See, this is a BU roll. I don't even know how long I've had this, but I decided I was going to go through and look at some coins. Kind of get this pushed out of here and get this set up. Make sure that we can see everything. There's a couple different things that we're going to be looking for on the 1959. One of the key things is to make sure that you have your various resources open. So as we're looking at the 1959, I'm going to be looking at copper coins. Whoops, that's Tiger. I'm going to be looking at copper coins. Copper coins is going to give us all the various things that we can be looking for in the 1909, or excuse me, in the 1959 set. This includes repunched mint marks, RPMs. It includes DDOs, which are double die obverses, and it includes DDOs, which is double die obverses. So we have the DDRs, the DDOs. I think I said. Anyway, we have RPMs. So we'll be looking at all three of those. I got all that information pulled up. And if for some reason we have to look at another resource, I'll be pulling up Variety Vista and Wexler. But we will wait and see if we can find some items. The last two searches that I've done haven't been very fortunate. So we'll see if we can find something today. And nice out there for get these set up a little bit. They are starting to fall out. Now, some of these coins, this is not completely uncommon. These coins look a little bit rough. We'll see if this is in fact a BU set. Sure looks like it, but again, in some of these holders, these things could have sat around for quite some time. All right,
Frost,
so
I no, I see the coin in a very small window. Is that what you wanted?
nope, I'm pulling it up. I'm going to be going back and forth. I got a couple different. What's up, Southern Coin Hunter? How you doing? Good to see you. I'm going to finish setting up. I've got my coins here. I've got my stack to look through first. All set up, staged, and ready to go. And find something. All right. So again, looking at familiarity, familiarizing yourself with some of the things we're going to find. Look at the pictures over here. This is always a good thing to do ahead of time. You'll see that there's some thickness in the 9 here. We scroll down. We're going to be looking at a bunch of eyelids. Seems like most of the double die obverses are going to be on the eyelids. So we have that 1, the 9 that we're going to be focusing on, and the eyelids for the front. On the back, we're going to be focusing on one. There's only one DDR, double die reverse, and that's the FG. So we'll be looking for the FGs on the reverse on these as well. And we're going to be looking at a number of different mint marks. Some of them are very cool. Yeah, I saw that Southern Coin Hunter. That's pretty cool. So we're going to be looking at these again. I am going to go slow and take my time. What good is doing a coin hunt if you guys can't tell what I'm looking for? So we're going to take some time and walk through these things. If you see something, holler in chat. I'll be honest with you, I don't always see everything, but that's okay. That's what this is about. Just have fun, have a good time, and look and see if we can't identify something cool. Oh, and then while we do that, we're just going to be having some general chit chat as well. There's a lot of things going on in the world, and so who knows what we'll be talking about tonight. How are you, Tiger?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Just trying to recover from the bad news that's happened, which I'm sure everyone here knows about, the whole country knows about. Knows about the whole country. Trying to put myself back together, trying to make reality be better than what it has been. How about you?
Just a lot of the same. Doing work and trying to stay busy, kind of go through the motions, make sure things are taken care of, and that as we come across stuff, because there's a lot of people, not only in the community, across my network of friends that took this news kind of hard. So, been having a lot of discussion, watching a lot of information, trying to avoid the political discussion. I don't think this is a political thing. Could be politically motivated, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to let the investigation happen, get more information, make up my mind. But what's sad is that a man of God, a genuine man of God, died, and that's kind of sad news. Whether you're a believer or not, one thing that you cannot deny is that the man lived his faith. And I don't care what faith you are, somebody who's that steadfast in it has my respect. So, in that, I definitely lost a person who has been impactful. Uh, Again, taking politics out of it, looking at a couple of different aspects of things. I'm just looking at him as the man. He didn't have to agree with his tenants. He didn't have to agree with what he did or who he was. That's not what matters. What matters here is that a man died. Two kids are orphaned of their father, and we now have a lady who is a widower, and just a real bummer. Real quick, you know what I haven't done? Holy smokes! I haven't really said hi to anybody. I want to go say hi to some people real fast. I had to drop the bomb. Freaking awesome! Liked and shared. Thank you so much, brother. How you doing? I definitely appreciate your support for sharing that out. Amy Harrell, B. Taylor, Frank McCain, Joe Lopez, what's up? We see call him J Lo. So if you hear us say J Lo's in the chat, that's who we're talking about. Southeast Stacker, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Tiger, again, bud, thanks for coming up and hanging out with me tonight.
I needed this. I needed this pretty strongly.
Yeah, I get you. There's a lot of people that feel that way. We'll be doing a lot of talking about this. Jeff Rubin LL, how you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for coming in and moderating tonight. Much appreciated. Gold Maple, I am doing well, sir. How are you? Hope you are well. Let's see. We've got a bunch of people in here monitoring two chats. If for some reason you put something in chat and I don't recognize it, give me a few minutes and I will come back to it. Mike Nottleman, what's up, brother? How are you? We are running both. You can be in either stream, doesn't matter. Looking at 1959Ds and just having general chit chat. Again, what's up, Check? Hey, I'll be seeing Check Stacker next week. He's going to
Oh,
be in San Antonio, so I'm going to run over and hang out, visit him with his wife. So looking forward to that, brother.
he's got a very nice head. That hat he wears is perfect for him.
Um, I don't understand why anybody or anybody would do something like that to another. You know, I don't think any of us do. Here's the thing. There's an old saying, and I may say this wrong, but uh, in order to catch a criminal, you have to think like a criminal. If you don't think that way on a day to day, it's hard to get into the mind of somebody that way. How could somebody do that? Um, and then for him to just brazenly go up to his dad and say, "Yeah, I killed him." That's that's pretty jacked. And so again, I don't know the details. I'm not going to assume um but I have gone through and watched a lot of non-political, more faith-based style review of who he was. And you know, I reiterate, and I talked about this with Tiger ahead of time. You know, I just I just see I just see a genuine good man got down even before his prime.
Way before his prime.
And a lot of people are like, well, he's just a conservative lackey. This kid started when he was 18 years old, 31 years old. He started his own business. He has become a national known icon. He has changed things from religion to the political venue. And he's 31 years old. Uh, you know, he had many, many impacts in life. And again, it's just one of those things where, you know, I don't get it. And I mean, number one, I don't understand outside of some certain venues why an assassination tool is even used. Um, I will never think that way. I can't think that way. When I think of shooting something, it's with a camera, um, still life, photography. That's my thing, right? I just don't understand. And again, I'm a proponent of the Second Amendment and taking care of ourselves and making sure we protect ourselves. So don't get me wrong there, but I just don't understand how you can justify because you don't agree with somebody's that it's okay to do that. How do you justify that? I just don't understand that.
It takes someone that's full of rage and they want what they want, what they want. And when they don't get what they want, and when they are faced with someone who doesn't agree with them, and even worse yet, doesn't agree with them and uses logic, then it makes them want to go to further and further extents.
Yeah,
And I was watching one of the news channels, found out something I didn't know before. And you being a little bit more scholarly, I'm pretty scholarly, but you're more so than me. They brought up the topic of Socrates, where he used logic and reason to get his points across, and subsequently he was murdered. And then Plato took up the mantle and went on from there.
so you comparing him to Socrates and Plato?
I'm comparing him to people who use kindness and logic to get their points across, and then people lose their cool and want to take it to a higher level extreme.
I got you.
You know, a lot of people have been martyred, including our Lord Jesus Christ, especially him.
Well,
And
and this is something I want to turn the brightness up on this a little bit. Um, can anybody tell me what that is?
it's
Um,
it's a penny.
oh, there's something happening with this particular penny, though.
He's got wavy hair.
He does have wavy hair. Come on, folks, let's put something in chat. What do we got? What are we seeing here? Dot Goober. There's actually something that's happening here. Potentially. Metal split. You're close, War. This is a delamination. This is a planchet issue. And so the metal's actually coming up. Now this is retained. It hasn't come off, but you can see right here. Actually, you can't see. I don't think you can see. Um, right around that edge, you see how it comes up over the ear, around to the front of where his head starts to come down his forehead, and then it comes back up the top. That is a delamination. That is a retained delamination. And so that is a planchet issue. And so pretty cool. If you ever get something like this, not necessarily worth any more money. A lot of people like to have it. This one has a cancer on it. Little bit of a die chip there. That's a strike.
That looks like a newer coin.
These are all very good shape. This one was probably, I think this one was an ender. This was probably the ender of the roll. You can see how toned it is. It was on the
Okay.
outside, so we shouldn't see too many like this. We'll see one more that looks like this that is on the reverse. Yeah, this is a delamination. So that's something pretty fun. I like finding stuff like that. But we're looking for a number of different items. Let's kind of go back to that discussion. I was watching one of the commentaries, and again, like I said, I've watched a bunch of it. There's a lot of other things that are going on during this as well. But one thing that kind of struck me, and it struck me as um, there's a double die lid. So this is a double die. We need to find out which one it is. You can see that right there above the eye, a little bit below. Um, I think I wish Eric was here. He would be so happy. I can normally not find those, and I actually got to see that one. Oh, let me turn the brightness a
You might
little bit better.
you might wanna keep that out because you usually do Saturday, Sundays with Eric.
Oh, well, he'll come back and look at this. He's probably already in bed though. Um, I'll talk to him in the morning, so I'll set this aside. Yeah, that's I'll have to find out which one that is. So now what we do is we go over and we look at um this item here. So we got to pull up the listing, and we're going to come down. We're going to start looking at the double dies. Um, that one looks like this. So we are looking at die scratches in the 9. Nope, they're going the wrong way, so that's not it. There's only a couple of die flow heading towards the 9 with an arrow going down here is correct. Off of the Y. Don't see the die scratch in Liberty. Nope, die scratch not in Liberty. There's only 2 more of these because there's only 4 of the double die. This one has an RPM. That's definitely that's good. So we'll be able to find one that has that definitely isn't it because we didn't die scratches off of Liberty. Those are the die scratch. There's the X scratch. Okay, so this is 1DO006. So this is the one double die obverse 006. This is a class 4 double die, and that is pretty cool. Outstanding. Okay, so we're going to set that one off to this. So this is the first time I found something in quite a while. That makes me happy. All right, so let's go back to the coin. All right, and then we can continue. That's a pretty hefty marker. We'll watch for that one. Some of these have some goobers on them. That's not good. Mike says he brought me luck. Indeed, indeed. How are you doing, Mike? Hope you're doing well. OC Stacker, I have 5 of those sets. I don't even know what he's talking about. So copper, bronze, planchet. Oh, there was another question in chat. Hold on just a second. Somebody asked about a planchet. Let's see. What do you think of the phone app that identifies coins? It sucks. Don't use it. It can't even double identify the varieties of it. 1909S BDB. That is a key date, highly sought after, highly desirable coin, and it can't determine whether it's authentic or not based off of the die positioning or the mint mark positioning. So unfortunately, yeah, kind of a bummer. Um, and they just don't work. They don't tell you when they're key dates. I have a question for you, Frosty. What is a blank copper planchet 3.1 grams worth? I heard it's worth a ton of money. It is not worth a ton of money. It is a planchet. Planchets are a dime a dozen, or in this case, a penny a dozen. Um, the um, the likelihood that you'll have one not struck is fairly high. The fact that it's a planchet doesn't give you any specific year. There's really nothing special about it. It's 3.1 grams, so it's copper. It's the alloy, which means it's pre 1982. But it doesn't tell you anything other than that. And so it's a cool thing to have. It's a good thing to teach if you have a blank against a planchet. You can teach people the differences between that. But as far as value, it's nothing. It's a planchet. It has no monetary value. Now, if somebody wants to spend a couple bucks or 50 cents to get it from you, then that's cool. But technically, it has no value. But people do sell them for a couple bucks. Little die clash there in the neck. You can see that under his chin by his bow tie. What is that? That is talking pieces. Yeah, I figured you guys were talking something else. Let's go back to the conversation. I got a little bit squirreled with the double die that we found earlier. Um, this looks a lot like big die scratch. Wrong one. Okay. Um, sorry, Tiger. You're gonna have to help me. I'm trying to talk and do
What do
this at
you
the same time. Um, Charlie, there we go. He was asked. Oh, I'm losing my mind. Let me catch my thought. He was asked, what did he want to be remembered? And the thing that struck me about that was I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a better world for my kids. I want to be known as a good husband and father. I want to be known as a man of magnanimity, man of character, moral fiber. Um, I want to be known for talking point, whatever it might, or turning point, excuse me. Whatever it might have been, he said, I want to be known as an advocate. I want to be known as a person who was jealous of his person who was known for that. And I think it's a remarkable thing because in order to really call yourself a believer, yeah, right there. Yeah, saw that strike through too, Frank. Um, it tells you where he was at as a person. It was less about him and it was more about education. It was more about getting people the good news. And when I'm talking good news, I'm talking in general, right? Not anything ultra specific. Um, and that tells you a lot about the person. It really does. And
It
so,
does.
whether you agree with this standpoint politically or not, you can't deny the man was educated and he never went to college. Did you know that, Tiger?
Oh, yeah, I knew that. I think he didn't get in, or maybe he went for a short time and stopped. I think he didn't get in. Uh, but shortly after that, he started the beginnings of Turning Point, and he was very well read, self learned, uh, a great critical mind. He could take and deal with anything that anyone threw at him, even encourage them to tell him he was wrong and prove that he was wrong. Uh, from what little bit I saw of him, no one could prove him wrong. Actually, to be honest with you, you know this, but I'm going to say it for the people in the chat. I didn't know. Hey, OC Stacker, I didn't know who he was exactly until you posted your short about his death. And I asked you about him. You said, you know him. Everyone knows him. I remember seeing him on one of the Fox things uh, when he was put on a lot, uh, debating with people, and felt really justified that all the propaganda that's thrown out there, he would challenge them on it, and they couldn't stand up to his logic. And finally felt justified because I've seen, and many of us have seen, where people use rhetoric and force their way and cause trouble for people, myself included. I'm sure many people out there too. Uh, and I liked when he ever popped up on my computer screen, not knowing who he was or how big he was. After you told me who he was, I did a quick dive into him, found out about everything he's done, and was shocked and amazed such a young person has attained such a lot. And really just wanted to go ahead and get to like him a little bit more, and obviously felt cheated because by the time I found out who he was and what he was about, he was gone. So just before we got started, I watched the uh, well, I don't know, live stream recording of his wife Erica, and I had a hard time coming to our live stream here because I didn't want to show up crying my eyes out. My heart bleeds for that lady and the children, and I pray to God she's able to keep her promises that she's given to her newly deceased husband, and that his voice of logic, reason, giving people an outlet to discuss differences of opinion without violence continues. You know, it's it's not fun when someone doesn't share your opinion and they start getting hostile, and I've seen it thousands of times. He was able to be nice to them when they weren't nice to him. he was able to turn the other cheek when I personally have to really work hard to do that, and he did it with such ease. So,
Well,
I
one thing about the discussion is that you you have to be able to have the discussion, right? You have to be able to talk about it. And the one thing that's really cool about that particular point was that he always allowed people to come up and say, "Hey, this is how I feel," and he would say, "Well, clarify for me. What is it you wanted to do?" And he would give them an opportunity to talk. And in many cases, if they had a good argument, he would say, "You've given me a different way of thinking about that." He never said, "You're right." He would say something like, "You've given me a different way to think about that. I need to really go through that. You actually have posed a couple good points." Now, here's the thing. He was a fervent debater. He was one of those people who knew how to debate. He's one of these people who knew his stuff. He knew both sides of the conversation very well. He read everything he could get his hands on. And he was an avid proponent on reading as much as you can. Learn the other people's way of thinking. You actually have to study them more than you yourself. It's extremely important that you do that. So if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, by the way, I'm kind of going back and forth. We have a double die, or excuse me, a repunch mint mark here. Hey, Samir, how are you? Good to see you. I'm glad you're catching me live as well. Thank you so much for being here. What we're looking at right now is trying to identify which repunch mint mark this is. So I'm looking at the various items. If I rotate this way, you will see down at the very bottom of that D. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm trying to show you down here and focus that in a little bit. And you can see down here in the bottom of that, focus, you can see that split serif. That split serif down right here. Oh, I lost my little pointer thing. Here, I'll have to use a pen. The little split serif is right down here at the bottom. You can see that. That little thing is a repunch mint mark. That means that a D over D occurred. And so what we're trying to find here is which one is this? We have to look at a couple of the different die markers to see what's going on. One of them is this little area off the one. This little area off the one, which is what I was looking at just a second ago, is located here. Whoops. We got to go back and forth. That little area there, again, we see that little area there. We see the serif. We look at the serif located here. Now we need to make sure the mint mark's in the right position. So let's get that in the same general place. And is it in the right place? It is not. This mint mark is too low. So this is not the one that we're looking for. So we need to actually look at a different one. What's up, freaking? How are you? Um, type 2, type 6, maybe. So this is what I'm doing. I'm looking at these various ones, trying to find out where it's at in relation. Again, I'm trying to look at the 5. And you see the serif. I don't have the serif up top. So definitely this. So this is part of identifying what it is. I wish I had, again, Eric or somebody here to look at that. Let's look at that little spot in under the we. You know, see die crack. So I don't know what this is. I'm going to set this aside, but there is an RPM that has a PO. So I'm going to look at the back. I'm going to check on that FG. That FG is not doubled. That would be the area we were looking for the doubling. It's not there. So I'm going to set this one aside. I don't know exactly what it is, but it definitely is an RPM. So I will have Eric look at it in the morning, and then I will post a follow up of that one. All right, let's get back into looking. Let's put my boat back and let's finish talking about that tiger. Sorry for the deviation. Got to
Okay,
tell people what's going on when we find them.
no problem. It kind of gives me a chance to start to choke back the tears because I still hear Mrs. Kirk in the back of my head. So, I'm trying to be very normally upbeat and everything. It's just, I feel really horrible for what happened to him and more so who he's left behind, his wife and children. So, just bear with me. I'm kind of melancholy over the death of a very good person.
I understand. I am more about, yeah, I get it. He's passed. It's a very unfortunate thing, but I'm more about how do we continue the legacy? How do we continue what it is that he was trying to do? And again, folks, I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about being people. How do we, and you guys will hear me say this all the time. All of you will hear me say this. I don't care if you like numismatics. I don't care if you're a die-hard stacker and you say you're wasting your time looking at this. I would rather just put silver in a box and be done with it and have it should something happen.
I
That's your
would never
prerogative.
say this is born.
Well, but the point is that it doesn't matter that I don't think that way. The fact that I know that you feel that way allows me the opportunity to do some stacking stuff on the channel. It
Yeah,
allows me to maybe adjust some of the stuff I'm doing so that maybe you do like being part of the stream, but maybe this isn't your cup of tea. Maybe this isn't exactly what you want to see. But how do you find that out? Well, you can gripe and bitch and moan and do all those kind of things. Or you can talk about it and you can say, hey, respectfully, I know you enjoy this, but what do you get from it? What's the whole premise of this? What are you looking for? I mean, so there's some fat lettering on the back of a coin. What does that do for you? And these are little errors and things that happen as um, or not errors, excuse me, varieties that happen as people are working the dice, as people are putting stuff on here. There are people who are actually manually putting the D on the die because again, until 1989, they manually input or they manually punched onto the working die the mint mark. And so if that bounced or if they had to hit it twice, you're going to get position. Sometimes they would smack the die with the mint mark just to make sure that they were getting a good kind of area. And they would do it in an obscure place, kind of near the jacket. So, like over here, kind of like where the ship is, right? The edge of the ship, maybe somewhere over here, kind of obscure. So maybe you see a portion of a D way, way, way over here because they were just kind of testing it out. They weren't really trying to put a mint mark on the die. They were just trying to get a feel for, how hard they needed to tap it or whatnot. So there's a lot of different things that you can find in these things, and it's fun. I do it because it's relaxing. I've been without a coin scope for quite a while. I'm able to get one. The lighting is really, really good here. And again, just going through and looking at these things. You may not agree with me on what's cool. You may not like nickels. I love collecting nickels. There's a reason for it. I have a very specific reason for it. But you may not find any interest in that. Oh, that's fine. Not a big deal. But how do I know what I can bring you? How do I know what I can do to keep you as an interested member of my audience? We talk, we discuss. Um, there's a viewpoint about raising kids. And maybe you don't have the exact same experience or thought process that I do. Um, if that is a little strike through, or if that is some extra metal. I'm not sure what that is. Gonna have to find out. Um, looks like a little die chip. That's probably all it's going to come out to be. But I will have Eric look at it and check on it as well. Um, but yeah, again, it's just one of those things. It is a manual zoom on the scope, Southern Coin Hunter. It's an AM scope. It's one of the lower middle grades. Nothing fancy. I got it on sale. Couldn't pass it up. It has the light adjusting software, so you can get good steady adjustment, white balance, and stuff. Um, but again, how do we have those discussions? Political discussions. You know what? Political discussions can be had in here, but I'm going to tell you something. I've had to correct some people recently, not just because I'm right, but because of frustration and hate about another situation, making a determination about something that somebody doesn't know. And it's not that I don't dislike them, but hey, it's like, hey, you know what? We really need to talk about this. You might have some issues. Let's discuss this. Um, and I don't mind you getting frustrated about it. We can agree to disagree. What I can't understand is the use of violence in a debate. There is no room for it. It doesn't make any sense. A debate is to have a free discussion regarding a topic or a set of topics. And there's supposed to be some agreement, some disagreement, an expectation that you both learned from the discussion. That's what critical thinking is, right? Taking time to step away and look and go, "Hey, what's actually happening here? What are we seeing? What what are you saying? Why in the hell would you believe that?" And here, let's do a little role play, Tiger. You ready?
Okay.
I don't know what your stance is. I'm literally going to ask you what your stance is on this. Um, single parenting. What do you think some of the drawbacks of being a single parent are?
Uh, Not enough time for parenting with the children. They're missing 2 points of view, the male and the female. Usually, it's the male that's missing. Uh, I believe that it, a good, strong, healthy male figure gives the children balance, gives the household balance, and subsequently they learn uh, how to be better adults, and there's less likelihood for crime. There's less likelihood for violence. There's less likelihood for, especially the men, not having a father figure, then not being a father figure for the next generation. Um, think I remember Denzel Washington commenting that the issue isn't racism. The issue is no strong male father figure in the home. And when he said that, it's like he hit the nail on the head. So I would love to see you know dual parenting. Um, I wish I was in that position. I ended up getting divorced, and sometimes I wonder if that affected my son to the point where he is the way he is now. But on the other side of the coin, I was dealing with a toxic situation, and I didn't want him to learn that toxic situations was normal. So I had to make a choice of one versus the other. But I fought like crazy to be part of his life throughout his youth. So that's my stance on single parenting.
But do you think it's hard for a single mother to be a good?
That's harder. It's not impossible, but it's harder.
So my mom, for many years, in and out of the relationship with my stepdad. I wasn't really engaged that much, but my stepdad, they in and out, and it got to the point to where I just decided that I was going to get fed up and grandparent kind of something stable. My mom offered that, and one thing that my mom has said to me a number of times that she did the best she knew how to do. She's sorry she couldn't do more, and she's apologized uh, over and over and over again that she was not able to provide me the things that I need. But here's something that my mom did for me. My mom taught me what reality was. She taught me that you're going to screw up and it's okay to screw up. She taught me that screwing up isn't the end of the world. It's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you pick yourself up. She taught me that life sometimes is just a general bitch. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. She told me that sometimes bad things happen to people, and not because they were bad people, but because it happened. You don't necessarily always have to know the why, but if you can learn the why, Simon Sinek used to say this, and I would always laugh because I was like, "Oh, my mom's been telling me that for years." Um, and that was understand, kind of understand your why. Now, she would never say like that. She would never utilize know your why, but it was crystallized intelligence, really kind of getting to the crux of what it is that you learn. Understand how you learn and then be teachable. And the best thing, the best words of wisdom that I ever got were from friends of my mother's who she introduced me to and brought me alongside good, solid men, godly men who took up the mantle for the non existent dad.
Okay.
So, can a single mother be a good mother? Hell yes, she can be a good mother. Is it difficult? It can be. And it can be difficult when you don't have the opportunity to have somebody who can pour into that child. Now, the mother obviously does that. Remember, a child is made of two parents, not one,
True.
right? Yeah, I love that joke, Mike. Before you criticize a man, walk a mile in his shoes. That way you're a mile away and you have his shoes. I love that. Yeah. My
Thank you.
granddad used to
I
tell me
needed
that one. And then the other one is he had a guy in a wheelchair steal his camo jacket. He said, "Hide, you can hide, but you can't run." Sorry, that was bad.
Yeah,
Um,
well,
but my mom taught me a lot of lessons. Now, if I would have had an active dad, would my life have been different? I don't know. No. For me to say yes would be presumptive. But there were many people in my life. My grandfather was a great man, and he didn't come from much, but he taught me the value of appreciating what you had. Some of my first coins came from my grandfather. The very first coin I got, 1873 seated half. He handed it to me. It was in pretty good condition, and he said, "I want you to tell me about it." And I was like, "It's a coin." He's like, "No, but tell me about it. Who made it? Who designed it? Who, um, where did it? Where was it minted? Get some information and come back and tell me about this coin. And then when you can tell me enough information that I know that you've looked at it, it'll be yours." And he taught me to go research. He taught me to go look. My granddad would start to tell me stories about when he was in uh, the war, when he was over in Europe, and he ran motor pool, so he um, pretty high in the senior ranks, and was one of the senior sergeants of motor pool. And he would be talking about stuff, and he'd go, "Do you want to see something really fun? Pull up this unit. Read what they did." And I was like, I'd go look at it and find out some of the stories and go pull it up, and you know what? I would see George. George was an old retired Army general, and I would see his name in the battle, and I would read, and I'm going, "I know this guy. He's my grandpa's friend." And he would talk about these things, and he would say, "Go look at, hey, you know the highway patrolman? Yeah, you want to go see something cool? Go check out, and I just say this arbitrarily, but the Battle of the Bulge. Or go check out the infamous road to Calais, from Calais to wherever, and or go look at the Mosquito Fleet or something like that." And he'd talk about all these different things, and then he would say, "Well, go look at this article," and he'd go look at an article, and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, there's the highway patrolman's name," because he knew a lot of these old army folks, and it was one of those things where I got indoctrinated to, "Oh, yikes, what the that thing has seen better days."
Yeah, it looks like it's got black mold. I don't know if you can get black mold on copper, but that's what it looks like.
Well, it looks like there's a strike through, a pretty significant strike through. You can see it there, all above the FG, all the way across, and then it discolors. I'm not sure. Then you can see it down there. I wonder if it's a planchet flaw. Not sure what that is. Interesting. This is what I noticed. You can see what looks like a serious strike through. But in that portion of a coin, that would have to be this portion of Lincoln's bust. That doesn't look like that's what that is. Interesting. Yeah, this one definitely has got a lot of gunk on it, but I have to look at that and figure out what that one is. Interesting. But it taught me stuff. So what did that do for me? Well, you guys know I like history, right? Where
Yeah.
do you think I got my love of history from? Was it my granddad talking to me about history? It was him sending me to go find those stories, and then finding out that a lot of the friends that he had were engaged in those wartime stories, and that the general that he was a good friend with, um, wrote the book on motorcade tank infantry. And so it's interesting, but it definitely is a die clash, or some sort of strike through. We'll have to check on that. But so again, can a single mother be a good parent? Absolutely, but I think it requires a village, and I think that there is something to be said about the social construct of a single mother or a single father. Because again, if you're doing it by yourself, you need other people to come alongside and to fill some of those gaps. Dads
True.
that are single out there, I don't care how good you are. Bifrost and I have an amazing relationship. But I'm going to tell you something. I can't be her mom. I can't teach her what it is to be a woman. I can teach her what it is that I look for in a woman. I can teach her the characteristics of what it is that I would want a woman in my life, those things that I hold of value, the belief structure,
You disappeared
religious
for a little bit.
belief, um, punishment. And there's a lot of things that we can agree to disagree. Favorite foods. I want to have more not in common with my wife than I do in common with my wife. Why is that? Because if we argue, we're not going to argue this crap because we have the same viewpoints. Now,
Okay.
go ahead, Tiger.
I said, "Okay." I thought you were gonna say because she's prettier than you and you didn't wanna give her competition.
Well, I mean, I'm not that pretty. You guys have seen me. Um,
That that's what I said, you can't give her competition.
yeah, but the thing is that I can't teach my daughter. That's a really pretty coin, but I can't teach my daughter how to be a woman. I don't have the experience of. For me to try to do that would be kind of a slap in the face to a woman. Because I've never walked a mile in their shoes, Mike. Oh wow, this one has seen some dye polishing. Check that one out. Um, I've never seen um, life through that lens. How in the hell can I teach my daughter how to balance that? How can I teach my daughter to a little something up there on the side there? Looks like we might. I'd like to see something really nice. Looking in the fields for more of the dye clash. Doesn't look like it's there, but it was definitely heavily polished on the other side. Seen anything on the eye? Um, but again, what I can do is I can teach her morality. Now, the one thing that I've taught my daughter, and my daughter's really good at this. She's here, by the way. Um, Sitting in
Dad
the other room. I asked her if she wanted to come in, and she's like, "No, Dad, you do your thing."
you taught her dad jokes?
Oh, we always tell dad jokes. We send each other text messages about stupid jokes. Um, but my daughter and I have some conversations that many fathers and daughters would never have. Um, we talk about safe practices, some of the problems that you can have medically if you don't properly take care of things, looking at relationships with men, the things that she should see. Now, fathers have that conversation, but these are conversations where it's like, hey, Dad, how do you know if a guy's a good kisser? And I told her, I'm like, I don't know, I've never kissed one. I don't know if that I have the answer to that. You're gonna have to ask your mom that, right? There are some questions I can't answer for my daughter, but we get to have the discussions. We get to talk. And what do we do in that time frame? What do we do when we talk? We learn something about each other. She learns a little bit more about me, and I learn a little bit more about her every time we converse. I get to find out there's another RPM there. It's very small, located in the bottom of that D there. Same general positioning. It doesn't have the thing on the one, so it's not the same die as before. Then about the same mint mark position, doesn't have the die scratch off of the Y. We were looking at that earlier. Not the die scratch off of the E. So these are just ruling things out. The FG is not doubled. I'm not sure which one this is. I'm going to set it aside. So we found 1, 2, 3, 4 RPMs, strike or die clash and a lamination. So far we found some pretty cool stuff. We've only gone through maybe a dozen and a half coins. We're going through really slow. We're doing a lot of talk. Um, but we have to have discussions, and the discussions can be with our kids. The discussions can be with our neighbors. The discussion can be, Tiger and I have conversations where we talk about all sorts of stuff. We converse about work and stacking and collecting and politics and religion and wives and food and travel. And Tiger and I have one, maybe two solid areas of disagreement. Solid areas of disagreement where I'm like, dude, Good on you. I'm glad you feel that way. Sorry, I don't. Um, I'm not gonna chastise you for it, but normally I leave the stream when he starts talking about it. What is that, Tiger?
You just absolutely love to argue about goldbacks. And let me just put it this way to people in the chat. You feel that you're right, and I know that I am. And one day when SHTF hits, I'm going to get a phone call that you need help. And I'm not going to turn my back on you, but I am going to go, I told you so. Nah, 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 boo boo. I'm surprised.
I don't mind a gold back or collector's set.
Yeah.
I don't. They're beautiful, and I'll tell you, the Florida $5 one is still my favorite piece.
Dude, that is the prettiest girl on any of them so far.
It's a very well done piece.
Yeah, and
Um,
I've said this loads of times because she's so pretty, I'd let her make me walk the plank.
bum, bum.
But no, I my stance points is that it's I don't see them as I don't see it as stacking. I'm definitely not collecting. I'm preparing for the merchant that won't deal with either constitutional silver or fractional silver, and they're demanding gold for their goods or services, and that's where I'm going to go with it. I've told you I think I have the first four, maybe the first five of the goldbacks that came out in the same denominations and the same frequency, and uh, if I get any more, I'm really not interested in getting the same denominations. I'm planning on going to the denominations I don't already have. Hi, Michael Stacking. I'm planning on going the same denominations. I'm going to go for a bunch of the half gold backs because I want the fractionality. Um, I feel that there's a possibility without increased fractionality that I might have enough to deal with the occasional merchant that wants gold for small stuff. So, I'm hoping to get more halves. Would I like to have at least one of the other denominations in each state? Well, yeah. But with them now at $7+ per gold back, um, I'm not sure that I want to go that route, except for the increased fractionality. I bought my first gold backs when they were $3.67. Now they're seven-ish dollars. Some people say it's too much of a premium. That's true. But on the other side of the coin, I've also heard some people, I would never give you that amount of money for a gold back. Well, you don't have to. I'll go back to Alpine Gold and sell it back to them if I have to liquidate. And I'm going to get, current day exchange rate, maybe minus a little so they can keep the lights on. So subsequently, I see it as a strategy for bartering when I don't have silver as an option. Um, and in that same light, with the first four states, they've come up with improvements in the pictures on there. I don't care. I don't want to get the new versions with the prettier, nicer, upgraded pictures. I don't care. For me, it's a issue of barterability in SHTF, and that's its only function for me. I like the additional pretty whatever, but it's not worth it. For me, it's just not worth it. It's an issue of barterability in SHTF as a first line defense against a merchant that will not take silver. Frosty thinks that it's a big waste of money. I think that it is a, it's, If I'm wrong, fine, but if I'm right, I'm glad I have them. So, but usually when we talk about this, Frosty takes himself off stage, and we just laugh and laugh and laugh about it. So that's what it. Hey, speaking of designs, maybe we need to get Bifrost in with Goldback so that she can start designing some of their upcoming currency.
I told her to join a competition with the US Mint.
Did she?
She said, "Okay, Dad."
That that that
I
takes
seriously doubt it's gone anywhere.
that's
But she's really busy right now doing all of her university stuff.
tell her boys are bad, books are good.
You hear that, sweetie?
Tell her Uncle Tiger needs her in the
He
room.
just walked by. She's not even acknowledging me.
Maybe she'll acknowledge Uncle Tiger.
Yeah, but I told her, I said, you should put in some of your artwork and look and see what's going on. Pay attention to when they do the design elements and design something. She has done. You guys seen some of the stuff that she's done. She's quite the little artist, and like you could put together something really cool. You never know what you could find, and I think it'd be really cool. I will say hi to my daughter Elle. She came over. She was like, "Dad, I want to come hang out with you," and I'm like, "Okay." And I was like, "You want to come hang out with me, or you want to just come over and be lazy?" I'm like, "Okay, come over, be lazy, hang out, do whatever you want to do." So I'm going to go live, and she's like, "Okay, I'm going to hang out with my friends," and comes in, checks on me, gives me a hug, and asks me if I need any water or stuff. She's a good kid. But the relationship that her and I have had been fraught with turmoil and frustration because of the relationship with me and her mom. Did the married household in that situation work out? No, did not. But we both had good social internet networks, and we were able to fill gaps that we didn't have on our own. And so my daughter is well adapted. We have a great relationship. We talk. And she's a good kid. And I don't say
Yeah,
that because she's my daughter. You know my daughter, Tiger. She's a
yeah,
good kid,
despite her dad.
the spider dad. Absolutely. Um, so but yeah, when Tiger's talking about goldbacks, I'm jumping all over the place here. Um, but
No,
Tiger
I
talking about goldbacks, I don't mind the artistic piece, but good grief, there's too many negatives for me. Um, People say, yeah, but look how many places that are there, and I show Tiger the number. He's like, well, look at how many places do this, and I'm like, great. There's 640 places in the United States that take them. Nice. There's 84 million merchants. Do the math. Less than 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10%. And so how many vendors are going to take those? Oh, they take them because the economy's good. What happens in a crappy situation? Are they going to still do that? Probably not. And you have to make the assumption, and we talk about the same thing with constitutional or junk silver, and that is people have to be educated about what it is. Remember, stackers make up about what percentage, Tiger?
less than 1%.
Less than 1% of the people who have silver and gold are stackers. And so, again, there's not a ton of people that dig into this. Got to be the G was giving me a little bit of a fit.
It's gonna
Um,
I
Go ahead.
believe it's get stronger as we go through more and more financial garbage, and as long as the people start realizing that the dollar is worthless, more and more worthless, but until they come to that realization, just like me, till they come to that realization, they're not going to be willing to even consider it. You know,
P3, what's up? Peaceful Journey says, I got an 1884 dollar coming with mint marks. Is it worth anything? Um, Mint marks or mint mark? If it's a CC, a 1984 CC, if it's genuine, that's going to be the key thing. In this particular case, if it is genuine, um, it really depends on the grade. Uh, Saying a coin is really nice doesn't necessarily mean it's actually really nice. So it kind of depends. MS63, and I can pull one up and show you guys one. Uh, Here, so happen to. Ugh,
while you're doing that, I'm gonna interject something about Bifrost.
fire
Uh,
away, dude.
once you and I started becoming closer and closer friendship wise, you and her allowed me to step into the role of an adopted uncle, which I'm really grateful for because I don't have any children in my life anymore. So when I get a chance to talk to her and she's there, "Hi, Uncle Tiger," I can't stop smiling from left to right. My heart beats a little bit. I feel happier. I feel more joy in my soul, all because some little girl allows me to be an adopted uncle. So, I can't thank you and her strongly enough for that. I really appreciate that because I really need kids in my life and I don't have them. And when I'm in the ER, I really light up for the children, the patients that are children, simply because I just love children. So, in fact, if I had my way, all my patients would be children. But that's my thank you to both of you.
Oh, of course. I taught my daughter to be nice to handicapped people. So, um,
Well, she has good experience working with her dad.
she does. She does indeed. Hey, P3. Here are two 1883 Carson cities. I know you said yours was 1884, but the 82, 83, 84, the mintages were fairly close. They run about the same amount of money. But what I want you to look at is these two coins are in mint state 63. One is in an older green holder, one is in a newer Gen 3 holder. But when you look at the coin, you can see how sharp and how pretty the coin is. You can see that there are some marks on the coin, a little bit distracting. They have, I'll move the camera just slightly, pull that in a little bit closer. You can see that there's really good luster on each side. If I move this a little bit, you'll see the luster kind of flows there um, on that coin. Again, nice piece. These are both authentic coins, but there's a lot of those that are counterfeit, and there's a lot of those that people think they look good, but when you get them, they look like they've been totally beat to hell. So would it be worth anything? Well, in G4, it would probably be an $85 coin, $90 coin. But you have to know what G4 is. We also have to make sure that it's authentic. So in order to say what a potential price of the coin is, I would have to see the coin. Good quality images or coin in hand. Please don't send me the coin. I don't accept coins. If you send it, it's a gift. Thank you very much. I'm not sending it back. So please don't send me a coin unless you want to send me a gift. Okay. Um, but you have to have coin in hand or some really phenomenal pictures. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it. And if I can't make the determination, I'm going to reach into my network and I'm going to get a hold of Jack Riley, Jack Young, Zach, and say, hey, let's walk through the various counterfeits. What are your thoughts on this particular coin? So I can't give you a price. I can't give you, could it be worth anything because I don't know if it's genuine. So if you want to take a couple good photos of the coin, then you can do exclamation point email, and it will pull up my email address. You can take a couple really good photos of the coin, good light. I need to be able to see the details of the coin. If it's blurry, it doesn't help me. But if you'll send some good photos of the coin, I will look at it. If I can tell you by looking at the items, I'll tell you. If I can't, I'll put it in the hands of somebody who can. I'll relay that information back to you. Once we determine the potential grade, once we determine that it's in fact authentic, then we can tell you that the range is generally A to B, okay, A to C. But there's some things that I need first. Now, before we go on with any of that, I have a question. Did you buy it online on eBay, or did you buy it online at a place like Temu or Alibaba? If you bought it at Temu Alibaba and you bought it for 25 bucks, you don't need to send me pictures of the coin. I can tell you it's counterfeit. If you got it from eBay and you spent 50 bucks, if it's not magnetic, send me pictures of the coin and then I can evaluate it for you. You want a really good item? If you have a kitchen scale, weigh it. Right? You can drop it on the counter. You'll know if it sounds like silver. Unfortunately, if I drop these on the counter, it'll go thunk 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 because it's in plastic. But silver has a very distinct um, sound. You'll be able to hear that high tingy ring sound of steel or that kind of dull flat thud sound of copper. You'll hear that sharp ping sound if it's silver. And once you have some silver coins and you ring that true, silver will never be lost from you again. You'll know that sound. So the coins do sound slightly different. You can do the coin apps. Now, earlier somebody asked me about coin apps for take a picture of your coin. Those are crap. However, the ones for like the ping tester that checks the audio quality of the ring, those are actually very good. You have to pay a price if you're going to do some of the more rare coins, but there are ways to test it. So, P3 Peaceful Journey. You asked me what seemed like a very sensitive or very simple question, but there's a lot of caveats to it. Again, if you want to know more, you can send me here. Sorry, I'm moving some stuff around, and I have a lot of stuff on my desk. And exclamation point email. This is my email. You can take some photos, send it to me. I will review and evaluate it and let you know. Hopefully, there's good news. And if there's good news, and that makes me happy. If it's not, well, I'm sorry. But we can always try. Okay, there's the email right there. You can take and copy that. It's Frostbite Coins, just like you see in the channel at gmail.com. So hopefully I can help you. Again, folks, if you haven't already done so, do me a favor, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. I've already got a couple people subscribing. I appreciate that. So thank you so much for all the support. But again, if you're watching vertical, just double tap the screen. It's really simple. And the more you do that, the more it sends the stuff out. So I definitely appreciate you. Actually, I want you to do one other thing. I want you also to go to subscribe to Tiger Stack.
Oh, thank you.
Um, he how many are you short? 15?
Let me look here. I haven't pulled it up for quite a few hours.
Not very short. You're not that short.
Smart Alec. Hold on. I am at 1,963. So what am I, 37 short of 2,000?
Okay, cool. Well, you guys go Tiger. Oh, L. I love you. You're right on top of Johnny on the spot. Thank you for throwing that in there.
Thank you,
Um,
Al.
Samir, that is a beautiful question. Frostbite. The reason PCGS changed their holder so many times in the 90s is because of counterfeit slabs. Now, the early slabs are collectible, but how do you know they're real? It's a beautiful question. And there's a couple of ways to do this. You can do this with PCGS and NGC. I think there might even be one for old Annex and ICG slabs. But there are telltale signs, and unfortunately, I have a few of the older generation slabs, but I don't have any sitting in front of me. Um, I might hold on. I think I have. Make that 1964. Samir just subbed you up.
Oh, thank you, Samir.
Here's a good one. There you go. That's an older slab. Um, so how do you tell that these are authentic? There's a couple things to look for. Um, the primary thing that you're going to look for in any counterfeit slab, I want you guys to notice something. You guys can tell I have a fetish with 1883, right? 83 Carson City, 83 Carson City, 83 Philadelphia. I got 83 San Francisco. I don't know what it is about 1883, but it seems like whenever one comes up, I buy it. I don't know what it is. Um, but maybe I want to collect the 83 CCs in every holder. Maybe that's what I'm trying to do. Um, but there are things to look at. Okay. And again, if you're brand new, consider subscribing. It helps the channel. Number
No, no,
one is font.
let me hit onto the subscribing since we talked about both of yours and my channel. If you only subscribe and do nothing else, there's a good chance YouTube will take you out thinking you're a bot. If you get into a video, watch it, then hit the like button, hit the bell notification, leave a comment, especially if you do all of the above. YouTube will leave your subscription staying there. So, it's a really cool thing. And it's like when Frosty talks about, making sure that, you're protected by knowing numismatics on counterfeits and what's real and what's a counterfeit. Now, obviously, I'm not a numismatist, but I'm a scientist. Yeah, I had a hard time with that word for a long
For a
time,
long time.
for a very long time. And I do checking of gold and silver more from a traditional stacker and scientist point of view. Ping testing, magnets, magnetic slide, weights, calipers, and sigma metalytics. In fact, I'm planning on doing another issue about sigma metalytics on different types of metals.
Hey, Tiger,
Yeah.
can I finish with explaining the slab before?
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. I was in the middle of
I, I,
explaining this. Let
I
me finish the question first, okay?
started talking a lot. I thought I was you for a second.
No, I'm sorry. So Samir, again, the number one thing we want to look at here is the font. Honest to God, the best thing that you can do is really get to understand the fonts. Um, there are going to be things like placement. In this particular one, if you look at the edges, and let me grab that pen. Hold on just a second. If you look at the edges here and here, they're perforated. They've actually been torn off here. So if you see a slab that looks like this, but they're not perforated edges, you go look at the PCGS archive and you'll look at the slabs and you'll see if they had another color that was exactly like this that has the perforated edges. If not, and it doesn't have the perforated edges, you need to consider it for consideration, right? Go, this might be suspect. Look at the numbers. Make sure that the 7 doesn't go down. Make sure it slants all the way back. Looks kind of like an arrow pointing to the top of the 1 more than it does a 7, right? Look at the 2s. 2s are dead giveaways. The yeah, the perforation is definitely different, but not all of them are perforated, right? Some of the older ones are, some of the older ones are not. But that's a good way to tell. But the layout is always good. The color is really good. And then, of course, you have different things. So you have this type back. You want to make sure that it has that for this particular style. Sometimes they screw that up. They put the wrong one on. I've actually even seen really good PCGS slabs that looked real and then it had an NG back. It was a horrible thing. Um, The other thing is know these rings, the shakers, know when they went from transparent to translucent, know when they made the holder transparent or translucent. You'll see that these areas here on the various coins, the holders are different. Look at those holders. Make sure they're in the right positions. If there's three on it, make sure there's three and not four. Some of these will go all the way around. Make sure that they're all there. So there's a number of features that you have to look for when you're looking at trying to determine whether or not one is real or not. The other way to do it is ask. If you are unsure, take a couple good photos of it, send us the link, say, hey, I want you to look at this coin. And I'm going to tell you, if I can't tell you, I just go find somebody that can. We look at it together. And I've done this with a lot of people, spent a lot of time with different people on the phone going, hey, help me determine whether or not this is real. I'll send it to Paula. I'll send it to Paul. I'll send it to Jack and say, hey, what's going on? What are we looking at? Are we identifying something that's good here? No, this is bad. What makes it bad? I'm going to be explaining this to somebody. Teach it to me like I'm stupid, right? Like really break it down, help me understand. And then we'll go into it. Then I relay that information back to you. When I do that, I let you know who the people were that determined that and how to get a hold of them. So if you should have future questions, you can go directly to them. Now, I don't do that just because it's like, hey, just I'm going to send out everybody's information. These people are really trying to help the community. And so you'll see that the people who come on panel, Mike, Russ, Aaron from Harlan J. Burke, they've all been up there. They have the same thing, grow the hobby and grow the people in the hobby. Jack Young, Jack Riley, and Zach. And I can't for the life of me, Mike, remember Zach's name, but they're really good with counterfeits. You're looking at varieties and errors. I'm reaching out to Paula. So I've got a whole bunch of people that I work on and again, I work with, I should say, that really want to help you. So again, ask questions. Um, Zach Greenwald. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. Hi, Flag City. I know you said hi. I've been um, running my mouth a lot today. I'm going to give Tiger some time to talk, and I'm going to go back to searching some pennies. But great question, by the way. I appreciate you. All right, Tiger, please finish. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I needed to finish answering his question.
I understand. I still love teasing you though. But basically, I mainly do my verifications through science and logic. And when I run into something I'm clueless about, I'll turn to frostbite.
IT.
Well, not only IT, but other things too. I got a very rare slabbed pre 33 is my very first rare slab pre 33, and the first thing I did when I got it was take a picture of it and send it to you. You know, yeah, I am computer challenged a lot, but it's not just when I turn to you as IT stuff. A lot of the times I turn to you as IT, but sometimes it's because of a coin that I have no idea what I'm doing about. In fact, one of the first coins I talked to you about still it's probably somewhere in one of my hidden locations was a Franklin half dollar that with a double D on it that was told to me when I bought it a few years back that it's probably in one of the hidden locations, and it really wasn't that important to me. It was before I met you. But when I find it, it'll be one of the first things I do is I'll take a picture and send it to you to confirm if that's really what it is. But no, for those of you who want to verify what you got, Frostbite will do a lot of the numismatic verifications. I do a lot of the scientific verifications. Um, I've done some recently about why tungsten is the perfect metal to fake you out if they're trying to sell you gold and it's really not gold. Um, I'm planning on doing another video on that in the near future. But there's other things that you and I go through. We talk about laws and executive orders and history. So, in the whole history thing, usually you and I are on the same subject because we both love history and that whole thing. Hey, T Bird, nice to see you again.
Yeah,
So
history is the reason I like coins so much. I love the stories, absolutely love the story.
I just love history. The coins are just a little extra, but to listen to you talk about history, it's like you could not even have the coins in there, and I'd still listen because I love history.
Well, I just did the first. Hey, Mike. Speaking of, did you notice something yesterday? I We were talking about creating stories. He made a suggestion, and I had already planned this. Tiger and I had talked about this a number of, and I had already planned on doing some more stories where I do more storytelling, and I'm going to do this on a monthly basis. And I just dropped one. I actually went into somebody else's panel. Michael Stacking is here. He invited me in, and I talked about the Newton boys. And I went over the story of the Newton boys and the 1924 train robbery. Gave a little bit about their history, some of the stuff that happened, and then said the next time you guys look at a 1924 peace dollar, you're going to have another reference piece to history to look into. And so go check that out. And again, you and I were talking about this. Tiger and I had been talking about this when I doing good grief. What was it? The Redfield Horde, and then um, the
Gee,
GSA Horde, and I love the
I,
stories. The stories are where it's at for me,
in fact, I gave you your slogan.
where the stories are told.
Yes, as we were talking about, saying, what do you think about frostbite coins, where the stories are told? And next thing I knew, it was on his banner.
Yep. So if you go to my homepage and you go click on the 1919 India 1 rupee, I don't know what that means. You want me to do a story on the 1919 India 1 rupee? Let's talk. Okay, cool. Definitely. Yeah, I've got a few. I've already did my other one. Oh, here, I'll give you a clue. I want you guys to look at my screen and tell me if you have any idea what my next story might be.
Ships?
The shipwreck that changed the world. Story that started in a place no other than New Orleans, and a troubled time between French, Spain, and the East Indian folks that were there due to a decision made to use paper currency. Fun story. So if you guys want to look into that, that's going to be dropped here pretty quickly.
Mhm.
But the El Cazador, or the Hunter, an amazing, amazing thing. I got this from Steve looking for silver. I was keeping an eye out for something and reached out to me and said, "Hey Frosty, what I got." So I was like, "Okay, story time. Let's do it." So that'll be the next one that I come out with. So again, Mike, just wanted to say thanks for kind of confirming and reminding me. One of the major reasons I'm here is to talk and tell stories and share information and learn about coins and that kind of stuff. What are you working on, Tiger?
Oh, I'm just sitting here listening to you. Because when we get done with the live stream, I'm just gonna lay down, try to recharge the battery, try to make the video I've been talking to you about. Um, just the stuff I've been watching about everything we've talked about kind of took the juice out of my battery. We need to rejuvenate it, maybe get a little extra jolt with a 5-hour energy drink and then hit it hard. I got a video that's going to be released pretty soon. Um, as many of you might already know, because I'm not the best at computers, I have relied heavily on my brother-in-law helping me with higher tech, although sometimes he takes it a little too far. I've had to tell him to cut it back sometimes, but I think we're starting to get to maybe the beginning of a sweet spot where he juices it up. And this one is going to be a 13-minute video on the interview I had with Space Miner about osmium and about the science that we talked about. And he just sent me an edition of it that I hope will do well. Um, I was really shocked that he was able to throw up the stuff he threw up, and here's the real kicker to it: he doesn't speak any English. He uses computer programs for both typed and vocal English to Russian. And when we really get into the pickle, I'll three-way it, kind of like a Zoom meeting, but we're doing it less and less. And also, I'm doing more and more of my own editing. So I try to decrease his amount of work, mainly because he's over in war-torn Ukraine and his town gets bombed every day. And on top of that, they have only periodic electricity. So the more I can do for myself, the less I have to rely on him, and I don't stress him out as much. It's really stressful over there. He's staying in a he's pretty much sequestered himself in his mother's house because he's afraid that if he walks out, he's going to be snatched and put on the front lines, which has happened to a lot of other people. So, and I don't know what your political viewpoints are on the war in Ukraine, but my position is mainly around family. I want them out of there. I have been running into a brick wall, and if I could have my way, all of them would be out of there and living here with me. So, if it doesn't matter if you like Ukraine, don't like Ukraine, like Zelensky, don't like Zelensky. If you could find it in your heart to keep them in your prayers, to keep them alive and get them over here as soon as possible, I'd really appreciate it. So that's some of the stuff I'm working on, but I'm going to work on my next edition of executive orders. You and I've talked about that. I
Yep,
have a
I've done a lot of research on those.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea where I want to go with it. It's just I need to get highly motivated, highly caffeinated, and get past the loss of Charlie. Um, you know, I mean, that really took the wind out of my sails, especially today listening to his widow. So I really am kind of melancholy, and I really got to get back into the teaching everyone. I mean, I did a lot of, I don't know if I told you this. I got a brand new scale, one that's highly sensitive, and I got to get it out of its box to make yet another video. I bought tungsten as something I want to do some videos with about why it's why the counterfeiters consider it perfect for trying to fake people out. I already did one video on it. So and I got other things where I'm gonna be doing specific gravity and using the sigma metalytics in a way that you wouldn't think about it, but it's there. And I'm not gonna tell you the details because I want you to watch the video. I don't wanna give you any spoils to it. Um, Rossi and I have talked about it, but, those are the things I've got going on right now. But after we finish this live stream, I'm going right to bed. I need to recharge the battery.
Well, if you need to charge your battery now, go for it. I'm not gonna
No,
be on for much longer because, again, I'm streaming in the morning. Mike, thanks so much for being here, bud. I appreciate you coming in, hanging out, and I definitely will see you in the morning.
well, I'm gonna enjoy my Diet Mountain Dew right now. Ah, and then when we're done, I'm going to enjoy my fuzzy blanket.
Yeah, Amy, the people that are celebrating his death, I don't understand. Um,
That's just people full of hate.
well, and that's exactly what it is. It's just hate. And unfortunately, again, we go back to the very early parts of this discussion, and there's no place for violence in a debate. I'm sorry. Um, a debate is allowing a few people to come together and have a discussion about varying points of view. And the purpose is to gain information, gain knowledge. That is the fundamental premise of this. And so, what I don't understand is why why the justification. Now we're going to find more as time goes on, whether this was politically charged, politically motivated, was this an ideology type thing. Don't know the answer to that. And you can hypothesize. If you know better than I do, then by all means talk about it freely. I don't. And I'm not going to watch a lot of the news until they start actually going through it, because right now it's just conjecture. Um, and we've seen that when they had the wrong guy arrested. Right? And
Mhm.
so um, they were quick to report, quick to report, quick to report. And they show this old crusty dude, right? And then the one that got me, good night, Michael. Have a good one. Thanks for coming in and hanging out.
Night,
The,
Michael.
the one that got me, and I mean, really, folks, this one, how dumb of a position do you have to be in a news organization where you say, well, maybe it was the people who go to college and celebrate by shooting guns in the air? Um, really? That really? How foolish. Foolish. Um, again, debate, discussion, folks, talk. That's it. Talk. Let's learn about each other. Tell me what it is you want to know about the information, and let's discuss it. Tiger and I don't agree on goldbacks. I can't stand the damn things, but him and I talk about them, and we make it
That's
this kind of
that's
running
okay.
joke.
That's okay. I'm sending you a bunch next week.
And it's a running joke. It's one of those things where, he comes online. We had Lynette Zhang on for Stack Elector, and what did I do? I told him, I said, when you say this, I'm going to hang up. And I forewarned her so she didn't think that I was really upset. And she started laughing. She's like, that's banter. Those are people who do not agree in that, and they have figured out they don't agree with it, and they've made it fun. This is
Yeah.
what this should be. And this is, again, Tiger's my friend.
Good night,
But
T-Bird.
but it doesn't mean that I'm going to accept his hypothesis of goldbacks. It's just, I'm sorry, you haven't given me information to counter my concerns.
That's
Well,
okay. That's okay, 'cause when the world goes into SHTF and you call me up, I'll help you out, but I'm gonna go, Told you so.
Night, T-Bird. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. That's fine. I promise you that if you do that, I won't be going after goldbacks. Um, I'll be going after that silver that you say that the people don't want. That's fine. No, I'm just kidding. Um, honestly, it'd probably be the generator. Um,
Yeah, you can't have my generator.
but again, we have discussions like this, and it's okay, right? And you can believe that, and that's fine. Um, so many stupid statements. By what? I'm missing something, Frankie. Are you chatting with everybody else? Or are you talking about us?
Could be what it could be both.
Yeah, I think I've made a lot of statements. I know that I haven't been able to keep a conversation on track. I've been all over the place tonight.
Well, you did say it's chit chat, so that means we can bounce around.
Well, yeah, I mean, this isn't a targeted discussion about politics or uh, Charlie's death. This is looking at coins and just
Why are
palling
we talking
around, hanging, chatting,
politics?
talking, right? And
Why are we
again, folks, we don't have to have the same point of view.
why are we
I
talking about politics?
Paula's Hicks.
Yeah,
You know what we're going to have to do?
but
I'm going to have to get her on panel, and we're going to have to do a session surprise and call it Paula's Ticks. I think that'll be funny, don't you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You'd
Me
be
and
like, "What the hell?"
me and my imagination gave you yet another idea to go with something.
Yeah, so there's no Paul. Yeah, the Polish definitely. Um, yeah, they're definitely strong. They're reflective. The coins are in really great shape. 1959. They're in really good shape. We found about 9 varieties. One damaged. Well, damaged planchet error, which was a retained die lamination. We found one DDO, double die obverse, and then we found a number of repunched mint marks. So we found a couple good things. We didn't find the big one, which is number one, which is a really strong doubling on the 19 of 1959. All of our 1959s have been pretty skinny. There is a significant die scratch along the back of Lincoln and then off of Y. Those are kind of markers for three of the five pieces that we found. Was there was there doubling on T of trust? No, that's damage. There's damage to that coin. That coin, you can see how where it struck and ran across the R. You can see where it dragged across the T. That's a much better light position for that one. That's damage. There's nothing but damage. Something came across that. Looks like it got stuck in something and it dragged across that in kind of that direction. There in the R and there in the T. Philip the Board, what's up, brother? How are you? That is the
So
Mercury Dime Prince himself. I owe my Mercury Dime book to that guy. Told him that I was looking at building one. He sold me a roll of Mercs that had about, oh, there's a good re-punched mint mark. You see that there at the bottom of the D. Let's zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that. Haven't done a great job with classifying leads. Let's see if we do a better job with this one. You can see that repunch mint mark very clearly right there. So what we're not seeing on this one that have been the die markers on the other one is this little area under the one. There's not any additional material there. So we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that die clash on the neck. We're not seeing the big die scratches on Y of Liberty or on the back of Lincoln. So I don't know which one this is. We can go look at it here. Let's pull this up and see what we can find in relation to its position. And this is how you do coin identification. So what we're looking at here is um, give you an idea. See, like there's the bottom serif here. Doesn't it does have a little bit of a top one. Um, that's too close to the 5. That's way too close to the 5. That doesn't have the stuff in the 9. This is a pretty good possibility. Let's check this one out. Die is in the right position. That separation doesn't quite look the same. So let's go over here and check Liberty. It does not have that area above that, so that definitely isn't. Samir, this one is a Amscope. It's a fairly cheap Amscope, but the whole purpose of the Amscope that really makes it kind of stand out is the ability to change the light, and I'll show you that here in just a second. So let's go through again. That doesn't look right. That one looks a little bit better in the right position. It does have the little notching here, which mine does too. It does have the right serif. Mine has, let's check the flow lines on the D. Flow lines are going in the right position. Do they go? No, they do not. The other mark. Oh, that's the one with the Y. Okay. And that does not have the die scratches across the Y, so that's definitely. And this is what you do when you look at these. Definitely it. So this is one of those things, it can take you a while. The more you look at it, the more you become the more you can identify the coin itself. You can see the two serifs, both their top and bottom. Let me change back to the image of the coin real quick. Again, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more, give you a little bit better image of this and show you exactly what I'm talking. I'm going to have to. There we go. Oh, you see a little bit more of that bottom serif, that separation there. I want to try and get a better one of the. There we go. Now you can see the top. I need to make sure that I see the top. You can see that much more clearly as we look at this area right here. And this area right here, you'll see those serifs that are coming off. Those are split. So I need to find one that matches the top. Flow lines are heading in the right direction. Reversal through the 9. Here's a die crack on Lincoln's head. So this is going to be, okay, this is going to be 1mm 32. That's cool. So we found another nice one. Cool. The last time I went through this, we looked through a whole bunch of coins and I didn't find anything. This is the last coin in the set. And then we're going to wind down, unless there's something in chat that somebody wants to discuss. We'll look at this last piece, kind of wrap it up. I need to get a couple hours of sleep. I stream at 8:30 in the morning, and I still have to set up that morning. Anything you want to talk about, Tiger, before we wrap things up?
No, I think we've covered a lot. Like I said, once again, if you subscribe here or mine, please do more than just hit the subscribe button. YouTube will take you out. Go into a video, like, hit the bell notification, leave a comment, it'll stay. And if you would give it a try, watch a lot of Frosty's videos. They're highly educational.
Oh, check
Watch.
that out. Look at the doubling on the F and the G there. We got a double die reverse. This one I don't have to look at. I already know which one this one is because there's only one. So let's go back to the very front of this. Ah, and this is 1DR001. And I know this because of that thick FG. So let's pull that up. You'll see that thickening there on the F. Make that a little bit bigger. And that's the exact same thing we have. Die scratches right there. So again, that's pretty cool. So that is 1DR001. That's the very last coin in the set. What a good way to end the stream. So, all right, folks. Well, hey, you know what? Let's get here and do this again. These are my resources over here on the left. You can look at these. You can see lots of cool stuff. You see the other things you should be looking for in a coin. Um, if you guys like this kind of stuff, I don't always have to look at Lincoln Cents, bar off of the T. Very nice. I don't always have to look at Lincoln Cents. Um, I do have some teens. These are old wheat cents. So if we want to go through some old teens, we can go through those, look at those. I haven't sorted through those. Um, I can go through, um, oh, that's the one I need. We can go through, uh, Tiger has a bunch of war nickels. So if you guys want to see war nickels, I can work out a deal where we can get some war nickels and look through some of those. If we want to do more where we have story time, where I look through some coins and we talk about a story of interest, we can do that too. So I want you guys to do me a favor. For those of you who aren't subscribed, if you want to, totally and utterly up to you, consider subscribing to the channel and put something in the comment. Stephen Ward, thank you so much for subscribing. Greatly appreciate you being here. Um, John Hanna, have a great evening. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you being here. That's good. Also, you can just do exclamation point email. Whoops. Being able to type is a gift. I actually changed my email. That's the old one. Crossbitecoins@gmail.com. This is the easiest one. Amy, I'm glad to listen and learn. Hey, you know what? This is fun. Again, I'm just going to throw another coin up here just so that people can see the things here. But if there's something you guys want to talk about, if there is a coin that you want to learn about, if you want to have a session where we go over, hey, let's talk about the Carson cities. what's the big deal with GSA? Hey, Frosty and Tiger, I watched a Stack Collector episode of yours, and you guys were talking about pre-33 gold. What is it about pre-33 gold? And Tiger and I can break that down for you. If you have questions about coin collecting, and earlier on somebody asked about key date coins, ask the question. Michael Stacking earlier, I know Michael Stacking has left, but asked a really good question about grading coins and looking at the slabs and how do you tell if slabs are authentic. We had that question in here by Samir. So there's a lot of great conversation that gets to happen, but it's really up to you. So bring stuff to the table every Saturday and Sunday morning. And if there's something you want to talk about, if there's a story you want to hear about, just let me know. And I will continue to bring panel members on. We're working on a couple really cool panel members right now. Next week, I have an interview with one of the primary coordinators of the Anti Counterfeiting Education Foundation. Her name is Beth, and we're going to be talking about some of the items that should be commonplace when identifying counterfeits, how to protect yourself from counterfeits in a world of counterfeit coins. So
Yeah.
we got some great guests, and again, Tiger has a lot of great guests on his channel. He brought Lynette Zhang on for Stack Collector. So make sure you subscribe to both channels. Go check us out. Go see what we're about, and I don't think you'll regret it. I really don't.
I can't wait until I get more free time so I can do more videos. I want to get back up to 2 videos and a live stream a week, but, because of the work, the travel, the exhaustion,
Yep.
get out as much as I
And
can.
it's a lot of work.
We can blame it all on Ellie.
Well, we have some amazing moderators. I want to give my hats off.
Yeah, we
Freaking
do.
awesome as always, sharing stuff out. Um,
Ellie
Ellie,
is
um,
my moderator.
AA,
Oh, yeah.
Siren. I have a lot of amazing people that come into the chat to support. And again, the panel members that are normally on, you know, there are some very smart people that come along my channel and offer their time and support. And if it's if you don't like me, come check out them
Yeah,
because the
there's
knowledge that a lot of these folks have is amazing.
yeah, they're a lot of fun. I was blessed to have AA on panel when I'm at my 2 years of content creation giveaway party. She made my life a whole lot easier, and, just a sweetheart of a person. So, having her up when she typically doesn't come up was a blessing.
Samir said, I would like to talk about differentiating between true rare coins and high hype demand coins. That is a great topic. um, Samir, I don't know where are you located? I don't know what your schedule is. What time is it where you're at?
Dum 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 da 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 da.
He's in Cleveland. I'm sorry. Oh, I mean, okay. Um,
We'll not hold it against you.
so no, I'm just teasing you, Samir.
I
Eight
I'm not
thirty,
I'm sorry. I have a lot of relatives in Cleveland, so I can get away with that joke.
8:30 a.m. Saturdays and Sundays. We go live. I have a pretty packed schedule for tomorrow. Saturdays
And
are usually my education piece where we talk about education, talk about the coins, we give examples of what's going on, and then we bring an expert. Um, maybe they're on panel, or maybe they're in chat. And then we ask questions relating to that particular topic. Tomorrow we've got a couple different topics that I'm going to be going over, but I'm also going to be talking about one of the uh, robberies from the United States Mint. So I'm going to be doing this on Saturdays for the next couple weeks. But if you're up for it, Sunday, bring that question and we will talk about that because it's an extremely important thing for people to understand what rarity means. Rarity is not necessarily just about the mintage of the coin. Rarity can be about condition. Rarity can be about an error. Rarity can be about the fact that they destroyed 1933 Godden's double eagle. They destroyed all but a few. And it was a very commonplace coin. And because of legislation and an executive order and confiscation and a buyback program, we no longer have that coin. There's very, very few. So situational rarities. So there's a lot of discussion in that is really good for people to understand. Remember when we're talking about rarity, look at things like the strike for that particular year. Look at things like the mintage. Now, mintages, look for the other low mintages. Just because something's low mintages doesn't mean that it's a valuable coin. 1958 nickel's a great example of it. I have a really nice one sitting here on my desk. It's about as low as the 1950D. 1950D is a key date in the Jefferson nickel collection. However, unfortunately, it's not very expensive. It's people like it. It's a key date, but the 58, it's almost as low, but it's not even considered semi-key. Why is that? Why does it matter? um, 5 steps, 6 steps, full hair, full bands. What does it all mean? All of those things tie to condition and they tie to the rarity. Most of the time, when people are talking about this, you'll do better to hear about, instead of rarity, scarcity. Talk about scarce coins would be the ones we're going to talk about tomorrow, the auction that happened with the Space Sacagawea coin. If you haven't followed that, I'm going to be talking about that. Um, those are scarce, very, very, very scarce, bordering rare. The fact that they went into space is it's a cool nuance thing. Um, but the most expensive one sold today for 500,000.
Wow.
Got a hell of a story. There's only 12 of them that existed out of the original 59 or 39, excuse me. The other 27 were destroyed. Only 12 survived. They sold 7. They also sold one additional coin. That additional coin was supposedly, and I say supposedly, I'm waving air quotes over here, and hogwash bullcrap because there's no way they can prove to me that it was the very, 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 very first coin struck. They can't prove it to me. Um, the very first coin struck could have been struck on a totally screwed planchet. You're going to tell me it happened to be an MS-70? No, I don't buy it. Sorry. Um, those are scarce. Those are scarce. Now, if you really did track the very first coin struck in a series, and every time, like the mint director was there, bam, they struck it. They put it in a case. They put it under lock and key. They labeled it as so. People did their safety seals. They signed everything, did all the paperwork at that exact point in time, with a lot of people there witnessing it, signing off, validating it. That's going to be a rare coin because there's only one. Right? Did that happen with this piece? No. So is it a rarity or is it just a situational rarity? It's a situational rarity. It's not really a rarity. but it's because it's got a fun story, right? So we'll definitely talk about the rarities. We'll talk about a lot of the BS that's out there. There's a lot of crap channels to talk about this rare coin that you can find, this rare Lincoln cent that's worth $1 million. There's not a Lincoln cent alive that's worth $1 million. Um, they just don't exist, right? You can't find a $10 million nickel. Uh, the one that's closest is the 1913. Um, I think they ran about 8, 7. So you got to really know your coins, but a lot of people do this for fear of missing out. The FOMO aspect. It is to get you to go, "Oh my god, I might be able to find this," and you freak out over nothing. And channels that do that, you need to run away from. There are times where you can find cool things in your pocket change. Okay. This 1959 roll, if you were to look at a 1959, all the things that we found tonight, you can potentially find in your pocket change. Those are things you can actually find. And some of these coins are really nice. And a couple of these coins would probably go MS65, maybe MS66. A couple of these are really nice. And so some of these maybe $20, $25 coin. Could you make a lot of money doing this? No, you want to make $1 million selling coins? Start with $2 million. Okay. Um,
True.
but yeah, there are things that, well, no, not even the aluminum cent. Again, that you're talking about a one-off. It's illegal to own. It's a test metal. Um, they are they're they're exceptions to the rule. Um, but if you say 1970 cent is not going to be worth $1 million, even if it's in an MS-70, it's not going to be worth $1 million. It's just we don't have sense that the 1926S, which is a conditional rarity in a really, really high grade, dwarfs a 1909 SVDB in the same grade in price because the conditional rarity, the scarcity of that particular item. Yeah, it wasn't supposed to leave the mint. And a lot of those coins, again, we talked about the gentleman. We're going to actually talk about a different one tomorrow. But there's a gentleman who got busted with millions of dollars of error coins that he had snuck out of the mints after a while. The one we're going to talk about tomorrow involves a forklift. Pretty cool story. So if you haven't heard how people utilize the forklift to get coins out of the mint, you're going to want to be there in the morning to listen to that. So yeah, we talk about these various things. So if this is something you want to hear about, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, check out that Saturday and Sunday live streams. And Tiger and I have started taking our live streams that are better, they're more popular, and turning them into videos. And so we're gonna do video based things where we take a snippet of something. Let's say we talk about executive orders and we talk about 3 specific executive orders, then we may make 3 small videos from that, where we're only talking about one specific item. So we're gonna start tailoring some of our stuff, to suit you better for evergreen content. So if you're looking for something, you can find it without having to dig through a 20, 30. So again, we're trying to do a lot of things to help you guys out. So this is why I say, Tiger's my buddy, but he's also a good channel member. Go subscribe to his channel. Make sure that you hit the notification bell. Go watch one of his videos. If you like fun, go watch the banter between him and Yankee Stack. That rigged, not rigged. We're all part of the rigged nation. Um, and so go check that out. Say hi. Let him know that Frosty sent you over. And go into other channels. And if you hear about you go see something from one of our things, go tell them that, hey, Tiger sent me. Go see Salivate and say, hey, Frosty and Tiger sent me. Um,
If you're one of the subscribers typically to my channel, it would be really cool for you to go over to Frosty, say hi, and say, "Go Goldbacks."
so Tiger went to sleep
I
Oh, yeah,
need
well,
it.
we can talk about a lot of cool coins. Um, and again, if you want to see some really good examples of proof coins, now we periodically do giveaways. I don't do giveaways all the time, but when I do, man, I might give away an ANA membership. That's the American Numismatic Association membership. I may give away a silver coin. I've given away gold. I've given away numismatic collectible items. Um, I've got a member drawing here that I was supposed to do last week. I'm definitely running behind on that. These are for all the people that were members all the way up until August. So I've got all those names. We'll put those out there. So if you're in the stream, matter of fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and run one. Why don't I give you guys 1 minute chat? 1 minute to chat. Smash the like, and then I'll pull the name. Stuart, here's the thing. Okay. I really hope it does. I really hope to God I'm wrong. And when you look at these things, you have to say, is it worth my risk? Is it worth me taking a gamble on this? And for me, the answer is no. There are people who have done the research, and there are people. Neil Hahn is in here, so I can say this without any issue. Neil is a hardcore osmium fan, and a lot of people look at this. We had Silver Dragons come into a discussion where we talked about it. He thought osmium was a scam. We had a great discussion, a really good debate. Um, we looked at it. Each of us left with the knowledge of what the person was talking about. Each of us understood a little bit more about what was going on, and we all had some different direction and information that we had to look at. I have looked at goldbacks. I have looked at the number of people in a generalized area and seen that I've asked a majority of the people in my area, hey, the Texas goldback comes out. This is what's going on. They're going to be offering it as an in specie payment. Is this something that you might be interested in accepting? They're like, no, we get those fake ones that come in here. They show the big flimsy ones made out of cardboard gold. So we get these big ones all the time. They're not real. Well, these are actually have real gold in them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, not here. And so when you realize that the stackers make up less than 1% of all the people who deal with bullion, and you think that the majority of America is going to jump on to goldbacks, I just have a hard time believing that. But with that being said, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope to God I'm wrong because there are people out there that utilize it as a stacking strategy. And I hope it works for them. Genuinely, I hope it works for them. Here's the
That's
point.
I'll share some of my grouping with you when you call in and say you need some. I won't
Here's
hold it against you.
here's the point though. Young Silver faces the exact same situation because at the time that we try to trade it in, people will recognize a silver dime as a silver dime. They won't understand that the inherent value of that dime is the silver, not the denomination on the coin. So there's going to have to be a spin up of education. There's going to have to be a time where we spin up the knowledge for the majority of those people who are not like us, that are not stackers, that are not collectors, and we need to make sure they understand what it is that we're looking at. And until we get there, now we were talking with Lynette, and she was like, I think it's more like 3% buy in. Well, Lynette wasn't talking about 3% of the population understanding it. It was 3% of the people doing education where we start to have an impact. A lot of people misunderstand what she was trying to say there. It's not 3% of the population. We need a good solid, in my opinion, more than 50% of the population to really surge change in that. Why do I say that? Well, just because Samsung makes the better phone doesn't make an iPad, doesn't make an iPhone, doesn't make a Nextel unusable. It doesn't make it better or worse. What it does is it provides an opportunity for something different. But if you talk to an iPhone user about Samsung, what are their general thoughts about it? Do they like them? Do they even know about them? These are phones, man. They're commonplace every day. We see them every day. People at work stick them on the counters. They stick them on the tables. They stick them on the counters. They stick them wherever it is that you're going to put a phone down. If I believe in my iPhone, I don't go to Samsung again. I get stuck in a pattern. I get stuck in a rut. So we have to have a majority of the people begin to genuinely understand the premise of what money is. Truly teaching people about money. Now, here's the thing, okay? Goldbacks are for the art of trading. Absolutely. I agree with you. They're also for the art of collecting. And there are people who are going to like to collect these, and there's going to be people who recognize the inherent value in that outside of the collectible. There are going to be people who collect stuff that have no monetary value, like seeds. And you know what? A seed will grow into something that will feed you. And in the early days of an SHTF, when the chaos started, it's going to help you way more than a gold back. So there are a lot of strategies to stacking. There's no one right strategy. But what is important is that we have these conversations. We talk about the pros and the cons. You have to know them both. You, people still don't trust paper money, Samir. It's fiat, it's trash, it's not tied to anything. We still don't do it. This coin that I have here, the El Cazador, one of the major problems that led to the issue that I'm going to be talking about in my next story time with Frosty is regarding the issue of paper money, the issuance of paper money, and Spain. The problem here is that we have to teach people to understand the inherent values, the options that are there, and allow people to diversify. And I really hope, I really hope the Goldbacks do well in a tough time. I really hope that those folks of you that are really into that cyber currency, that you guys like Bitcoin and things like that, or you guys like ETFs and you guys like working with these companies that take that and they bid against other things. If you like the stock market or if what it doesn't matter what it is that you're putting in your portfolio, there's inherent risk in all of it. And if you are comfortable in the knowledge that there's inherent risk in that and you want to do it, fine. Tiger Stacker and I don't see eye to eye in a couple of those elements. And that's fine. We have different strategies. Doesn't make him wrong and it doesn't make him right. It just makes him different. Once we begin as a people to understand that that is just a blind fact, a bland, straight, die hard in the wool fact, then we can begin to have discussions about it and not be upset. Now, Tiger and I joke a lot, and I kick him off the panel. He kicks me off the panel. I leave the panel. He leaves the panel. We do this to joke and have fun and barter and do all that crap, right? That's friends doing what friends do. But if you really want to understand, you got to surround yourself with people who have all sorts of ideas.
Which I want to jump in on that when you talked about crypto and all that. I released a video not long ago because I was experimenting, not for myself only, but mainly for all of you, so that those of you who don't want to, you wonder, but you don't want to. I invested in 4 cryptos, and I invested in 4 or 5 mining or royalty stocks, and I filmed that approximately 2 months ago. I released it relatively recently because the job was making it hard for me to get that edited down. It was a long, raw video. I edited it down and released it so all of you can see what I was seeing in July so that you can decide, hey, is this for me? Yes or no. Is mining stocks good for me? Yes or no. Crypto good for me? Yes or no. Royalty, same thing. And I also included in the video what I'm considering as my exit strategy and where I want to go. I personally believe more in mining stocks than I do in crypto, but I did it so that I could show everyone what I see. So if you're wondering, but you maybe you don't have the money, maybe you have the money, but you don't have the trust. I did that so you all could learn because I want you all to benefit from it. In addition, a lot of the reasons I do my videos is not only for all of you, but for my 2 grandsons, which is they're too small right now to understand anything above play. I'm hoping that maybe in the future, uh, you know, that they will see these videos, and hopefully they'll have enough evergreen content to teach my grandsons when they're older, what they need to do to protect their families, because it'll be their jobs to take care of their wives and their children. And hopefully, I will have left them enough teaching that maybe they'll pick up the wisdom and run with it, similar to me finally waking up and having memories of my grandfather teaching me things that I was too young and too much believe in the government rhetoric until I finally woke up about 4 years ago. S So, that's why I did that video, and I really hope that you all will look it over and, see it's there for all of you as well.
It takes a village, right? And this is something about this community that I love. We have a lot of people from a lot of varying backgrounds. And Rughead RC, I sold a roll of Morgans today. Outstanding. Congratulations. Um,
Congratulations. Well, let me address this from Neil. He says, "Sorry, but I feel your investment bias comes through in my opinion." I don't see it as a bias. I see it as the facts that I've seen. I've seen where the mining and the royalty stocks, how they've responded. They've actually even responded differently since I actually filmed that video. So, I pretty much blame no, let me use a different word. I pretty much use the facts that I've observed and presented the facts. I wouldn't consider it a bias. I'd consider what my observations are and what I feel, in my opinion, for me, is the best options for the future. I also believe that mining is going to get really big while Trump is in office. The whole drill baby drill is not only for oil, it's for a lot of other elements. I've also, since that video, invested in other minings. Not a lot, just a little. And I think I'm going to be seeing, the whole Trump administration pushing for us to get more and more out of the earth, whether it is liquid or whether it's metals. So I appreciate your opinion, Neil. I don't agree with it. I think that my observations for someone who usually loves to look at the facts and make determinations is pretty spot on considering what we're going through currently. Do I have any of God's omnipotence or Solomon's wisdom? Not a lick. But I'm a pretty smart cookie, and especially, with us trying to become an independent nation under the Trump administration, I'm taking advantage of it.
One thing that I definitely will agree with you on the fact that if you don't do your foolhardy end, you need to make sure that you're looking at whatever it is. And again, ultimately, the person who has to make the determination is the person doing the investing. Never invest more than you can afford. Don't go into debt to invest. It's a stupid thing to do. Um, People who make money study money, right?
They do.
And so you need to make sure you understand what's happening. And again, if you make an investment choice, you want to stack gold backs, stack gold backs. It's totally up to you. I don't poo poo on people who say they want to stack or they want to understand gold back. I just it's not a good strategy for me because I see other opportunities. We talked about gemstones. Okay. I have more of an exit strategy in gemstones than I would ever be able to have in gold back. And gems carry way more value in a smaller package. So in order to have the number of gold backs I would need to meet the element of one gemstone, in many cases would be 1,000 of them. And so there are tons of strategies. And I'm not saying anybody's strategy is wrong. I'm just saying that it's not for me.
That
And
was an that was a great, episode we had. I
that was
learned a
fun.
lot.
That was fun. We're going to do more on that. I'm actually going to be um, pulling that out. That's one of the videos that I'm going to take out. Um, a lot of the idle chit chat and just kind of hit on the crux of the issue and narrow that down, kind of like what you did with Lynette Zhang's video.
Uh-huh.
Take out a bunch of just the general whatnot and just get to the crux of it. And I think that'll help a lot of people because, again, one, you have to do your research. You have to know what stones are selling. You have to know the difference between lab created and heat treated and natural. You have to understand cuts and inclusion, clarity, the four C's, right? So there's a lot of different things that you have to do. But again, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be art, it could be beanie babies, it could be those little freaking bobby head doll thing. There's so many things that you can stack and collect that you're trying to offset. The big thing is that you're putting money away in some sort of hedge against what happens should the worst. That's what's important, honestly. And it doesn't necessarily matter. And a lot of people will argue with me. I'm not a financial expert, but it doesn't really matter how you put away as long as you're putting it away. Okay. Um, you want to make sure that you understand historical context. You want to make sure you understand when you're looking at stocks and valuation and the performance yield of a company. You're going to know how much cash they have on hand. You're going to know how much inventory they have. And if you can't answer some of those basic questions, you have no business investing in that company. If you are looking at a gold mine, but you can't tell me what they yielded in gold last year, you have no business investing in that company. If you are looking at investing in a gemstone, but you can't tell me whether it's a cabochon or an emerald cut, you have no business investing in that element. So you need to look and understand whatever it is that you're going to invest in. That is research. That is the sole responsibility of the person purchasing. Caveat emptor, right? Buyer beware. If you're not doing that, you can't complain later about getting burned. Just like if you don't vote, don't bitch about the president. You didn't have anything to do with it. You could have. Your voice matters. So, but anyway, it is 1 a.m. where I live. I have to be up, showered, live. I have to finish putting my stuff together for tomorrow. So I am going to bail, folks. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to clean this up, prepare for tomorrow's stream, and get a few hours of sleep. and then I'll see you guys in the morning. Any final words of closing, Tiger?
Yeah, when he told you when he's streaming, that's Central Time. So make sure that you adjust according to your time.
Good catch.
So that's it.
Very cool. Well, hey, Samir, Neil, um, Frank, you guys, thank you so much for all the great conversation. Amy, you've been great in chit chat as well. I appreciate the engagement here. I am going to do the winner command, and I'm going to give away a nine. Let's give away a 1961 proof nickel to Neil Hahn. Congratulations, Neil. This
Congratulations.
is that's the coin you're going to be getting right there. Got a nice kind of tone on it, kind of
That
turning
was,
a bluish color.
it looks like osmium.
Beautiful piece. So yeah, so send me a claim email again, frostbitecoins@gmail.com, and I will get this in the mail along with a couple other things I have going out tomorrow. All right, folks. Well, hey Samir, thank you so much. I'm glad you finally caught a live stream. Again, Frank, Amy, thanks so much for all the conversation. Elle, I love you, my friend. I appreciate you being here as a moderator. To the people who subscribed, Bryant, Steve, and the other people that I missed, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. I hope you take care of yourselves. Remember, it's not about being right or wrong, it's about having the conversation. That's what matters. All right, folks, love you. Be well, be blessed, and we will see you in the streams. Take care.
See you later.